Welcome to a world where nothing is quite as it seems. Welcome to Fake Britain.
Get down! Get down! On the floor now! So put your hand behind your back now!
Here at the Fake Britain house, we'll reveal the fakes that are flooding the market, conning people like you and me and making money for the criminals. We'll investigate the fraudsters who are selling us something that isn't real and could be dangerous. And we'll help you avoid falling for a fake. Today on Fake Britain, fake Dyson vacuum servicing that's ripped off tens of thousands of Brits.
They don't deserve any mercy when they've conned all these old people out of their money.
Dangerous fake head torches that could explode in your face.
It is quite literally a pipe bomb.
Fake protein shakes that barely contain any protein.
To hear that companies are misleading the public like that is horrendous. The repercussions are vast.
And fake nicotine-free e-cigarettes that could turn you into an addict.
It's horrible. Like, why would you do that to someone? Like, why would you advertise zero nicotine, but then contain nicotine is wrong.
If you've spent a lot of money on a vacuum cleaner, you want it to work properly and be reliable. So if you were contacted by the manufacturer offering a service to keep it in tip-top condition, you might think that was a good investment. But what if the company that called isn't really the manufacturer? What if they were faking it and they've already taken thousands of people to their cleaners? It's early morning in Leeds. Police and trading standards officers are gearing up to raid the offices of a company they believe are ripping off thousands of customers. They're pretending to be part of the brand Dyson in order to carry out fake services on Dyson vacuum cleaners.
So the idea of the operation today is to execute a warrant at the premises. The director of the company we're aware of is a Thomas Scoffin. So Mr Scoffin will be arrested by police officers, transported to custody suite, and then will be interviewed by trading standards officers.
Authorities suspect thousands of customers have been ripped off. The operation runs from this office in Leeds, where Excel Servicing Limited, not to be confused with any other companies of a similar name, has a call centre. They believe they're cold calling customers to sell them a fake Dyson service.
We understand that when we go into the premises, there is an office to the left-hand side and a call centre to the right. So we'll split into two teams for the people executing the warrant to go to the office, and then a team to go to make a note of who's sat where in the call centre.
As the 10-strong team make their way to the premises, Trading Standards Officer Sophie Davies is hoping this raid will give them the evidence they need to bring those behind this fakery to justice.
So whilst we're there, we're hoping to get lots of paperwork, potentially complaints, potentially contracts where we can see that elderly and vulnerable people have signed up. There may be large amounts of money, any evidence that's going to help with our prosecution.
And Sophie would like to leave with more than just bags of paperwork.
And ultimately, we hope the person behind it is there so we can carry out an arrest.
So what exactly has been going on that alerted the authorities to start investigating this company? 81-year-old Barbara Darlow was a customer of Excel Servicing Limited. She takes her cleaning very seriously and invested in not one but two Dyson vacuum cleaners, which cost her around £280 each. Not long after Barbara purchased the Dysons, she received a phone call out of the blue from someone claiming they were calling from Dyson and told her that her vacuum cleaners were due for a service.
I bought the vacuums from Dyson, so therefore I thought it was Dysons that were doing the servicing. So it just never entered my head to think anything was wrong.
What Barbara didn't know is that she wasn't called by Dyson. She was called by Excel Servicing Limited. She agreed to a service at a cost of £25 for both vacuum cleaners, which sounded like a good deal. A few days later, an engineer arrived at her door.
They'd stripped the vacuum cleaner And they start brushing at things, you know, and, oh, you need a new filter, Mrs. Doyle. There's nothing wrong, I've still got the filter that took out, and it's like you. So I just let him get on with it. You know, I didn't question it. I thought it's his job.
XL Servicing Limited, who Barbara thought were Dyson, serviced her vacuum cleaners for the next 7 years, costing her almost £800, substantially more than she paid for the 2 cleaners in the first place.
But as I say, they did strip it. There was always some parts to be put back in to renew. There's always 2 new filters, top and bottom, to go in. And then one time where the motor had gone, nothing wrong with it beforehand.
Barbara was about to discover her Dyson servicing wasn't quite what it seemed. Barbara's daughter Tricia was helping her mum get her finances in order when she came across some paperwork relating to the Dyson vacuum cleaner servicing.
I knew my mum had a deal with a repair company. I again assumed it was Dyson because I wasn't fully in charge of her paperwork at that point.
As she thumbed through the 7 years' worth of service reports, she noticed something wasn't quite right.
I thought, oh, that's a bit odd. No word of Dyson on here. This is when alarm bells started ringing.
Tricia was right to be sceptical. In fact, not only did Dyson have nothing to do with these maintenance contracts, they say their products are tested to destruction and don't need regular servicing. The whole thing was a fake. As Charlie Park from the genuine firm Dyson explains, no one is more angry about it than Dyson themselves.
It's a frustration to all of us here because firstly we are designing our products so they don't need that, they don't need servicing.
And that's not all.
We never cold call our owners. We have plenty of facilities for them to contact us if they have any issues like this call centre here, but we'll never contact them unwillingly.
XL Servicing Limited, the company that contacted Barbara, were pretending they were calling from Dyson. They then carried out a service that wasn't required for a fee. Trading Standards' Colin Rumford began investigating XL Servicing Limited and estimates the company has ripped off tens of thousands of people like Barbara with their fake Dyson services.
They were calling thousands and thousands of people, not to make thousands and thousands of sales, genuine sales, but on the off chance they'd drop walkie with people that had Dyson vacuum cleaners.
There was worse to come. Not only do Dyson vacuums not require servicing, but the unnecessary work the XL Servicing Limited engineers carried out was shoddy.
What would be fitted were non-Dyson parts, none of which, as far as we were genuine Dyson parts. They were all cheap copies or whatever that you could buy off the internet for a couple of pounds, which they were obviously putting quite a premium price on when they were selling them as part of the servicing package.
Once the XL Servicing Limited engineers had replaced parts that didn't need replacing, they'd generally charge customers between £50 and £200. Having found out that her mum had paid for a fake Dyson vacuum service, Tricia is shocked by the amount of unnecessary work carried out.
And by looking at the service reports, all these parts that needed changing, there's four parts on this particular time, on both hoovers, filters, sole plates, motor assembly belts, roller brushes, sole plates, pre-filters, post-filters, roller brush, solar plate, and you know, other things that I shouldn't imagine they needed replacing. They were in excellent condition.
For Barbara, news of the fakery is understandably upsetting.
To hear that this company wasn't with Dyson's, I just couldn't believe it. I'd been paying Dyson's as far as I was aware. So, who was I paying this money to? Who was getting this money?
The authorities know exactly where the money was going. Today, they're raiding the offices of the company which ripped off Barbara and thousands of other customers who believed they were dealing with Dyson.
We're just turning into the road now with the business premise in.
Sophie from Trading Standards knows there's a lot riding on today's operation.
So my colleagues will go in first off and execute the warrant with the police officers, and then we will follow in after. We don't like to go in all at once.
Later, we see Trading Standards confront the man behind the con.
Can you take his phone off him and make sure he doesn't turn it off?
Okay, well, we'll be down at Elland Road police station.
That's where he'll be
Me
going
and
to.
John. Yeah.
And learn the eye-watering scale of this fake servicing operation.
And in terms of turnover during the endowment period, it's well over in excess of £1 million.
Millions of these have been sold. If you're walking the dog at night, shifting some boxes around in the attic or cycling, it means you can see what you're doing without the hassle of holding a traditional torch. A head torch should be safe, it should be handy and efficient, but this is none of those things. It's a fake, and it's very dangerous. Natalie Songhurst and her husband Darren live in the Wiltshire countryside along with their son and dogs Ozzy and Suki. Natalie has always been into cross-country running, and a few years ago she took up the latest craze of running with her dogs. It's called Canicross.
Joined between like canine and cross-country, so it's the two words joined together. It's an actual sport where you have the dogs attached to you, and obviously then you go off-road, you go through the woods and stuff like that.
In order to train in the evenings during the winter months when it gets dark early, Natalie decided she would like a head torch. Her husband Darren started looking online where he came across this particular one.
This is the one that we decided on that was available. You've got the 3 different lights on there and the battery pack on the back, and it's a rechargeable battery, which was ideal so that we didn't have to keep buying new batteries. You could literally recharge the ones that you had.
The head torch cost Darren and Natalie £20, and they were so impressed they decided to buy a second one.
We purchased 2 of these so that we could both use them. If Natalie was out running, I still had one around the house that we could use as well.
During the winter months, Natalie was using the head torch on a daily basis when she was out with the dogs.
I tend to run in areas like this in the woods with the dogs, trail running so it's dark. Lots of tree roots and things like that, you need to be able to see those in the dark, so having a good, decent head torch is ideal.
Natalie was soon going to discover that the head torch she'd come to rely on was extremely dangerous. She was on her way to the woods with her dog Ozzy when things took an unexpected turn.
Yeah, it was at night time, we left the house. I had it on my head because we were going to go for a run straight from the house. It was raining, so we decided to jump in the car, come here because when you're running in the rain, you've got the canopy of the trees, so you stay a little bit drier. Approached the woods, and the front, because it's quite long, the front of it was touching the sun visors, started to irritate me. So I thought I'd take it off, literally put it on the seat next to me, pulled into the car park, and that's when it went bang.
The battery in the head torch had literally exploded on the passenger seat. Natalie captured photographs and footage of the aftermath.
That would have been on my head.
There were little fragments on fire up on the dashboard, up on the passenger side door, all along the top, sort of scorch marks in the seat, all up the back, and like a black powder was everywhere as well.
It looked like the battery on the head torch had combusted for no apparent reason. Having removed the torch from her head just moments before it exploded, Natalie was, and still is, understandably shocked.
It does make me feel a bit emotional, looking at the what-ifs and the what could have happened, definitely.
Natalie has no idea what caused the explosion, so to shine some light on the matter, the head torch was sent to Dave Cass, who runs a laboratory that specialises in electrical safety testing. He wasted no time examining Natalie's head torch.
When we look at the lamp, there's been an incident occurred with this particular variant.
Dave has immediate concerns about the battery.
This is the type of battery that was fitted to this particular device, 2 of them in each head unit, and it is labelled as Ultrafire. It is a lithium-ion battery, labelled also as 3.7 volts, 4,200 milliamp hours, which is the capacity of the battery.
Ultrafire is a genuine manufacturer of rechargeable batteries, but Dave thinks that this one might be a counterfeit.
We did a brief research on this company and the type of battery it sells. This was not one of the types that they sell. They do not actually appear to make this specific battery.
Dave is worried the battery is fake and doesn't comply with UK safety standards. Judging by what happened to the one attached to Natalie's head torch, it could also be extremely dangerous. A few days ago, Dave put his theory to the test. He carried out a UK standard stress test on the suspected fake. He placed it in this explosive-proof ammunitions tin before forcing it to short circuit, which causes a high current to race through the battery. Now, if it's genuine, it should have remained intact. But this was the result.
What we have here on this plate is what is left of the insides of the battery. So you can see that the battery itself has just completely empty. There's nothing left in there, and that is what is left. All of this material has all been ejected with some force. Some of the components within these type of batteries are actually flammable, and it reaches a point where the casing can no longer hold it all together, and it literally just tears the case apart and explodes. It is quite literally a pipe bomb. If this were to have occurred whilst you were wearing the head torch, you would have been burned.
The manufacturer of the genuine batteries, Ultrafire, have issued a warning on their website stating that they do not make this size of battery and therefore it's a counterfeit. At Cotswold Outdoor in central London, shop manager Alex Dunhill has been selling genuine head torches for a number of years.
You've got the more basic ones, which are more about roughly £10. Then you can move all the way up to about 150, depending on what you're doing.
Alex thinks the fake is similar to some of the genuine torches he sells.
So it's concerning that this fake looks like one of the leading brands of head torch makers, and then looking at different parts of it, although it looks quite genuine, you can tell that they've put less time into each thing, so it will last the consumer a lot less.
As Alex examines it in more detail, he's far from impressed by the build quality.
The dangerous feature of this is that this is glass, so if you were to drop this or knock it, it would shatter. And most modern head torches now use a plastic component that won't break. With any electrical product, it's important it's safe. However, the head torch is doubly important because the fact it goes on your head.
Natalie's now invested in a new, genuine head torch, one that she can trust. But her memory of the fake one and how it could have ended in disaster still haunts her.
It's hard not to think, what if, but you do. If we hadn't have had the dogs in the car, my friend probably would have been sitting on the seat next to me. It would have been on her lap. I would have gone, hold that. It would have been on her lap. Probably would have blown a hole in her legs, I don't know. Or what if we'd used it the night before when my son walked down the garden with it on his head? He's 9 years old. It probably would have killed him.
Darren is worried others may have bought the same fake head torch.
Our concern is that there is a lot of people that have probably got these out there that are unaware that these are potentially a ticking bomb.
If you're actively involved in sport or you like going to the gym, there's a good chance you may well have come across one of these. It's a protein shake, and it's claimed these shakes help your body recover after a workout and build muscle. Millions of these are consumed every year, but some are fake. Rather than help you get into shape, they could have the completely opposite effect.
Right, ladies, 3, 2, 1, go.
With us Brits hitting the gym more than ever before, sales of health supplements are at an all-time high. According to nutritionist and personal trainer Dan Whelan, our appetite for protein shakes has never been greater.
There we go. in the last 5 years, I'd say, it's kind of boomed in popularity in terms of it's now fashionable for people to drink whey protein, even just in the street, let alone after training. But you can now have it as a meal replacement or as a snack throughout the day, which is a fantastic thing to do because it's a really good source of protein.
According to Dan, anyone who is trying to lose weight, gain muscle or simply help their body recover quickly after exercise, a high-protein diet is essential.
After training, typically if you're resistance training, you weight train, you're breaking down these muscle fibres, you're stretching the muscle fibres and you're causing what's called micro tears within the fibre itself. Now, those muscle fibres need to be repaired and the only source to do that is protein.
These women have spent the morning doing an intensive cardiovascular workout. As the session draws to an end...
relax, ladies. Well done. 3, 2, 1. Hey!
They waste no time reaching for protein shakes.
I use protein powders on a fairly regular basis following my workouts, and they just help me recover better. So help my muscles recover following a workout and just adds that extra element into my diet.
My protein used to be quite low, so I do have protein powders, and protein powders have really helped me make sure that I hit my protein every day.
But we've discovered that some of the protein shakes on sale in Britain are fake and don't contain the high levels of protein claimed on the label. Today, Joe Hamer from West Yorkshire Trading Standards is on a mission to find out if any fake protein products are being sold in the Leeds area. She's going to purchase a range of protein supplements from a selection of local shops.
We're just on the way to a fitness shop that I'm expecting to sell things with high protein claims or calorific claim, nutritional and health claims. So I'm just going to buy a random selection of items with these claims on to get them tested to see if the claims are justified. Things like protein bars, protein shakes, energy drinks, anything really with any claims on.
All the retailers she's visiting today have been chosen at random. Jo is concerned that some of the products on sale in the UK are making fake claims about the amount of protein they contain.
If a product is labelled in, for example, high protein, it needs to have a certain amount of protein in it. If something was calling it high protein and it wasn't, then that's very misleading to customers who might be trying to build up their protein intake, and therefore if it's a lie, they're not getting that.
In a couple of hours, Jo's been into a handful of shops and bought a range of different protein products.
So I've got a bag full of shopping here, ready to be sampled. We've got a protein shake, high protein shake with sweetener, and it says it's fat-free as well, so we'll be just checking that that's accurate as the nutritional declaration on the back as well. What I'm going to do is submit these to the analysts to check that all the claims and all the labelling is accurate.
While she waits for the results to come in from her sampling, in Kent, Trading Standards Officer Mark Norfolk has also been carrying out an investigation into fake protein products.
Protein powders have taken off massively in popularity over the last few years, and it's actually quite a premium product as well. They're generally quite expensive, and people buy them for a very specific purpose, so we thought, well, it's probably something it's worth having a look at and see what we find.
Mark and his team focused on protein shakes and bought at random 29 different products from shops throughout Kent. When tested, they found that out of the 29 shakes they bought, 16 were making fake claims on the label about what they contained. The worst result obtained related to the amount of protein found in one of the shakes.
The protein failure was 25% below what it declared, so I think it declared 80 grams per 100 and it was found at about 63. So, you know, quite a substantial shortfall. Someone who's looking to take on protein because they're bodybuilding or training for a competition or what have you in any sport, they would have found they weren't getting quite what they expected.
Unfortunately, this wasn't the only fake claim made about these protein shakes.
We found problems with the fat and carbohydrate contents generally, so either being too high or too low. Some fairly wide variations there, so that does make you question, you know, why that is, and is someone really out to do something deliberate here?
There are many other protein products on the market, not just shakes. Joe Hamer purchased a selection in Leeds, and they've now been rigorously tested by Duncan Campbell at West Yorkshire Scientific Services. He's discovered that fake claims have been made about a number of these products. The worst offender was this protein cookie.
I've blanked out part of the label here for legal reasons, but quite prominent on the front we see a declaration for a high amount of protein, so 16 grams of protein per cookie, which is quite a lot of protein to be getting from a single cookie.
So how much was really in it?
In the nutritional analysis, we found that the amount of protein was quite a bit lower than declared.
In fact, it contains less than a third of the protein claimed on the wrapper. The label of this fake says it contains 16 grams, but it actually contains a rather disappointing 5. Joe is worried by the findings.
This product being lower in protein than the label suggests will have a detrimental effect on the person that this is targeting, their nutrition and their diet control that person may well have. So it's very disappointing to find these results.
But it's not just protein levels that are being faked. Duncan also found high levels of 2 ingredients you certainly don't want to find in protein cookies.
The amount of sugars and fat were higher than declared. So here you've got a product which is emphasising a lot of protein on the front, but then on analysis there's not that much protein there, and then nutrients which people might not be as interested in if they're going for a high protein product, fat and sugars, they're higher than declared. So when we look at the declarations as a whole, they're really painting a false picture of what this product is.
The suppliers of both these fake protein cookies and the fake shakes Mark seized in Kent are being investigated by trading standards. For the people who rely on these protein products, to learn fakes are being sold on Britain's high streets doesn't come as welcome news.
A huge shock, really. I maybe naively assumed that if it was, you know, by law, if they stated that there was certain things in a product, there had to be those things in the product.
It's really misleading. I mean, especially for me, my aim was to lose weight. So if, for example, I'm going to be then taking on a low, more saturated fat, or if I'm taking on more carbohydrate than I think I am, it skews all my calorific intake for the day and my other macronutrients.
Right, so go back to the start.
Nutritionist and personal trainer Dan is concerned the impact could be huge.
To hear that companies are misleading the public like that is horrendous. Like, the repercussions are vast if you think about it. You know, people are starting to become more health aware, health conscious, starting to take these products which, you know, can help increase your nutritional profile, to find out that they've got more calories than they've planned in, more of one fat, protein or carbs that they've planned in, or not enough protein. You know, for those that are taking their health seriously, that can have a huge repercussion.
Earlier, we heard how 81-year-old Barbara Darlow had been paying for fake services on her 2 Dyson vacuum cleaners for over 7 years, costing her almost £800.
To hear that this company wasn't with Dyson's, I just couldn't believe it. I'd been paying Dyson's as far as I was aware. So who was I paying this money to? Who's getting this money? Isn't it?
The answer is Excel Servicing Limited. Their fake Dyson services have ripped off thousands of customers like Barbara. Today, a team of police and trading standards officers, led by Sophie Davies, has just executed a warrant at the company's offices and call centre. They hope they can bring a stop to this fake Dyson operation. Inside, the police have spotted the company director, Tom Scoffin.
All right, can you take his phone off him and make sure he doesn't turn it off?
Okay, well, we'll be down at Ellen Road Police Station.
That's where he'll be
Me
going
and
to.
John. Yeah.
He's immediately arrested, put in the back of a police van and taken to the station, along with another member of staff. With their boss taken into custody, the call centre workers appear confused at what's going on.
Going or staying?
What they do know is that they're being shut down.
When we went in initially, the staff were quite unhappy, mainly because of the loss of pay they were going to receive. But at the end of the day, if they're targeting elderly and vulnerable people, that should be their primary concern, and complying with the law. So yes, they were quite unhappy, but we still have a job to do.
February 2014 commission.
Not commissions.
The call centre is a much larger, professional-looking setup than the team were expecting, employing around 30 staff. They suspect this is where they made cold calls to rip off customers like Barbara.
This is one of the scripts that we've actually seized, and as you can see at the beginning, there's no reference to who they actually are. It says it's a call regarding Dyson. Do you still use the Dyson? So they're making the assumption you already have one.
Having followed the script and convinced the customers they were genuinely calling from Dyson, visits would be arranged by engineers to carry out a fake Dyson service.
You don't pay anything over the phone, you pay it after the service has been carried out, and we know that allegations have been made in homes and about unnecessary servicing being carried out, which no doubt they will charge for.
And it's not just the scripts. As the team search the building, they find a store full of what appear to be used Dyson vacuum cleaners and a range of spare parts that the team suspect could be fake. With the suspected fake parts seized, mounds of paperwork bagged and tagged, and the call centre shut down, it's turned out to be a good day for Sophie and the team.
So today we've managed to arrest the director. We've also seized in excess of 100 evidence bags. So it's quite successful in terms of evidence gathering and the individuals we wanted.
Back at Trading Standards, Colin's managed to have a closer look at some of the parts fitted to the Dysons they've seized, and he's far from impressed.
Basically, it's a cheap copy of a Dyson filter, which cost a couple of pounds, bought over the internet, very poorly constructed by comparison to an original component.
XL Servicing Limited were charging customers around £40 to change these filters. However, Dyson say their genuine filters need just a wash.
It's just an out-and-out con, basically. Somebody's paying a premium price for something that isn't required and something which is likely to actually lower the performance of the machine that it's intended to improve. And just using these parts invalidated warranties if it was a relatively new machine.
Charlie Park at Dyson fears putting these cheap rip-offs into working Dyson vacuums could do more harm than good.
Could be a danger, depending on the parts that they're changing. You know, these products are connected to the mains electricity, so any parts that's failed that could expose live wires or any materials that could be flammable, you know, that's going to put consumers at risk. Anything that is being put into a vacuum cleaner that aren't ours, we can't vouch for and could cause problems to the vacuum cleaner at the expense of the owner.
The items they seized in the raid, along with the testimonies from a string of ripped-off customers, have given Colin and the team enough evidence to build a case against the man they arrested earlier, Tom Scoffin, the director and the brains behind this fake Dyson service operation. And the scale of his fakery was gobsmacking.
It was huge, basically. In terms of the numbers of customers, there were 68,000 customers of the business who paid for things that didn't necessarily have to pay for at all. And in terms of turnover during the endowment period, it was well over in excess of £1 million. Exploitation of elderly, vulnerable people was the prime focus of the business, if you like. It was their business model was to tell lies and to take money off people who could often ill afford to spend that sort of money.
In court, the second man arrested during the raid was acquitted of any wrongdoing. But both Tom Scoffin and his mother, who was involved in the running of the company, were convicted of conspiracy to defraud and await sentencing.
And I hope they get the book thrown at them. I really do. They don't deserve any mercy when they've conned all these old people out of their money. And some of them, it's been, you know, every penny they've got.
Charlie at Dyson is worried that fakers out there like XL Servicing Limited are tainting the reputation of the well-known brand.
If they're getting a bad service from these companies, and it sounds like that is often the case, that we don't like that reflecting badly on us if they think they're affiliated with us.
Sadly for Barbara, being ripped off by this fake has knocked her confidence.
I don't trust easily. I question everything before I even think of spending any money. And I think it's often when you have to do that, when you've always trusted people, that's what it does, it makes you mistrust people. And that's awful.
This is not the first time Charlie's seen Dyson targeted by the fakers, and sadly, he doesn't think it will be the last.
Yeah, as a company, we take it very seriously. There are other fakers out there apart from this company. We want our owners to have a high awareness of it, and we want to be trying to work with everyone we can to stop these people continuing these services.
Here's some tips from Dyson to help you steer clear of companies trying to rip you off by offering fake Dyson services.
The advice I give to our owners is that we would never contact them, and we'll always wait for them to contact us. So if anybody is contacting them, their chances are they could be a faker. We will offer them the service and the support that they need, but we won't be cold calling them. And secondly, if anybody is turning up to service their machines and they're not a Dyson engineer, who'll be driving a Dyson van and be in Dyson uniform and have a Dyson pass, then I would urge them not to use that service. Yeah, I'd advise any Dyson owner to check if they get any sort of call with Dyson. They can contact us through our website. All of our products have the call centre number, the free phone number on the product. So contact us if in doubt at all, and we can advise them on what to do.
You've probably seen one of these or possibly used one. It's a disposable e-cig or vaporiser. Vaping, as it's known, basically means inhaling flavoured water vapour. This one claims to contain 0 nicotine, so there should be no trace of that highly addictive substance which is found in traditional cigarettes. The problem is, this is a fake and harmful to your health. With the weight of medical opinion swaying towards the belief that vaping is less harmful to your health than smoking tobacco, vapes have quickly become popular. Used by people trying to give up smoking because although they can contain nicotine, the addictive substance in cigarettes, the user avoids inhaling tar and other harmful chemicals.
I love the social aspect of it. I love the fact that it's a community of people that get together to, first of all, to help people quit smoking as well.
So yeah, I mean, a lot of my friends, I myself was a smoker. Like, you seem to be one friend in the group will get a vape, and then everybody else will start to follow.
It's now estimated around 2.9 million Brits, a staggering 6% of the population, vape. Specialist vape shops, like this one in Notting Hill in London, run by Peter Coolman, are popping up on high streets all over Britain.
It's popular, I'd say, first because of health reasons, second because of the range of flavours, and of course the community that comes behind that, and third, it's a lot cheaper than smoking. This would be the basic vaporizer. You open it at the top, liquid goes in the top, in the sides, it closes, and you then get a very similar experience to a cigarette.
The liquid that goes inside can contain nicotine of varying strengths, but many users choose to vape the nicotine-free options instead.
Well, the trend that we're finding is that the longer someone uses a vaporizer, their relationship with it, they end up not needing nicotine.
Some nicotine-free vapes are being faked. And the fake ones contain nicotine despite claiming they don't. It's early afternoon in Camden, North London, the stomping ground of Dave Hunt, an experienced trading standards officer who's seen a sharp rise in fake vapes being sold in high street shops. The fakes he's seized and tested in the past have had shocking results.
Some of the ones that claim they didn't contain nicotine claimed up to 20 milligrams of nicotine in them when they were tested. So the reliability of the claims on them is not good.
Today, Dave's having a look around several shops he suspects may be selling fake vapes. And he's come across a brand of disposable vapes called Shisha Time.
When the Shisha pens started coming on the market, we were getting information from the young people that they were being attracted to them. So we started looking at the products.
If Dave's hunch is correct, these vapes could be fake. And if they do contain nicotine despite claiming to be nicotine-free, it's a shocking revelation. Dave's worried that young people might become unwittingly addicted to nicotine.
these are quite attractive to younger people and children. The flavours and the colours, and they could quite easily draw younger people into use of e-liquids.
Dave's concerned that if children get addicted to nicotine through vaping, they might take up the more harmful habit of smoking tobacco.
We don't want young people to start smoking. Nicotine is highly addictive, it's a poison, and if people actually start smoking cigarettes or tobacco products, there's all the additional chemicals of what's in those and the effects it's going to have on them long-term and long-term health of the community.
With these suspected fake nicotine-free vapes on sale in a high street shop, Dave urgently needs to find out if they do contain any nicotine. He bought one of the vapes he suspects is fake, and it's been sent to Martin Bowden at West Yorkshire Scientific Services for analysis.
So every year we receive hundreds of e-liquid samples from trading standards departments across the country.
Martin's using some complex chromatography techniques in order to test the vapes to find out if they are fake and do contain the addictive substance nicotine. The results are in.
We analysed them for nicotine content. Following that analysis, we found that one of the samples did contain nicotine, despite claims that it was 0% nicotine on the labelling.
It's a worrying find, but unfortunately for Martin, it's not a one-off.
So this is not the first time that we've found samples claiming to be zero nicotine that actually do contain an amount of nicotine. Obviously, it would be an issue if a person had bought one of these products that were presumed to be free from nicotine. They could easily be inadvertently inhaling nicotine without even knowing it.
We tried to contact Shisha Time, the brand named on these vapes, to let them know our findings and see what they had to say. We understand they're based in China, and unfortunately, despite attempts to contact them, we didn't receive a response. At his shop in West London, Peter handles hundreds of genuine vape products each week, and he's far from impressed with the fake.
Like, just looking at the build quality, you've got a metal rim. I don't know whether that's aluminium. I don't want to put aluminium near my mouth too much. It feels very, very cheap.
However, it's the liquid contained within the vape that Peter's most concerned about.
I have no idea what's in here. I wouldn't advise you to try it. I'm not going to try it right now. Yeah. Nicotine is addictive, so that's a non-consenting addiction. I feel very strongly against this sort of thing. It's horrible. Like, why would you do that to someone? Like, why would you advertise zero nicotine, but then contain nicotine is wrong.
That's all from Fake Britain. Goodbye.